The village of Pomak was once prosperous along the river's edge, until one handsome man sowed seeds of deceit. Marcus, the proud fisherman, treated women's hearts like trophies of conquest. But when he was goaded into a wager to seduce Leah, the mermaid priestess with scales that gleamed golden like the sun beneath the waves, the entire community bore the consequences. A spectral artifact emerged, a luminous seashell, reflecting the faces of the women he had once abandoned. And as the river ran dry, as the whole village fell into drought, Marcus realized his path to redemption would stretch far beyond the price he had imagined. Once upon a time, in an ancient African-American community, along the vast banks of the Pomak River, there lay a small village that lived off the water like blood, nourishing the body. Each morning, as the silver mist melted across the river's surface, the men rowed out to sea, returning with holds brimming with fish. The women threshed rice, wove cloth, and raised children in low clay homes nestled amid the shadows of trees. Drums echoed from the village corner, blending with the croaks of frogs, the lapping of waves against the shore, creating a familiar rhythm like the heartbeat of the entire community. To them, the river was not just a source of life, but a soul, a sacred vein connecting past and present. In that village lived Marcus, a young fisherman who stood out among the crowd. With his sturdy build, broad shoulders, and eyes that knew how to smile, he became the secret desire of many women. They said Marcus needed only a glance, a smile, to melt the sternest defenses. But behind that radiant exterior lurked a bad habit ingrained in his blood. He treated women's hearts like a game, a prize to conquer and then discard. And each time he parted ways, Marcus walked off lightly, leaving behind tears and shattered promises. In a tight-knit community, such actions couldn't stay hidden forever. The other men eyed Marcus with a mix of envy and contempt, especially one man who carried resentment deep in his heart. He had once been abandoned by the girl he loved for Marcus's gaze and smile. That bitterness smoldered into a plot. One night, in a riverside hut, as rice wine flowed freely, he hurled the challenge. "Marcus, do you dare? Dare to touch Leah, the mermaid priestess of the goddess Nia?" The group of men erupted in raucous laughter, the sound whistling like wind through thatched walls. They knew Leah was sacred, the bridge between humans and the divine. She was no ordinary woman but a symbol of purity, of the pact between river and villagers. From childhood, Leah had been chosen as priestess. They said that when the full moon poured silver light onto the water, she emerged from the waves with radiant golden scales, sparkling like 1,000 tiny suns. Those scales were not just beautiful. They bore the mark of the goddess. One glance, and anyone knew Leah belonged not to the mortal world. The villagers believed that anyone bold enough to deceive the priestess's heart would bring calamity, not just upon themselves but upon the whole community. So no one dared approach her with base intentions. They kept their distance, revering her like an untouchable golden flame. But when that challenge rang out, Marcus felt his pride surge. Not from love, nor reverence, but from an ego pricked. Those men thought he wouldn't dare, thought his charm would bow before her sanctity. In the flickering lamplight, Marcus smiled, the smile that had melted so many hearts before. "I'll prove it to you all." That night, the Pomak River lay like a vast mirror under the sky. The full moon hung suspended, casting silver light upon the water. The village slept in silence, save for the rustle of leaves and the slap of water on shore. Marcus walked alone, bare feet pressing into damp earth, his heart pounding not from fear, but from challenged pride. Then he saw her. From the rippling water, Leah rose, her slender form like a watery melody, black hair cascading down, eyes deep as abysses. And there, the shimmering golden scales cloaking her lower half. Moonlight danced on each scale, glowing like 1,000 drifting candles. The sight froze the air around them, as if the whole world held its breath. Marcus approached, his eyes brimming with confidence, lips curving into that familiar smile. Leah did not retreat. She stood there, between land and water, between sacred and mortal, as if waiting. Her gaze held no curiosity, no tremor, but an inscrutable calm, as if she already knew the end of every game. Suddenly, the waves stirred, and from the riverbed rose a radiant object. It was a strange seashell, its golden glow like a lamp buried underwater. Marcus bent down, picked it up, feeling warmth spread into his palm. He peered into its face, and for a fleeting moment, a face appeared. Not Leah's, but another woman's, one he had once abandoned. Her eyes brimmed with tears, her mouth parted as if to call his name. Marcus recoiled, blinked, but the image vanished, leaving only cold golden light. The night wind howled, carrying scents of mud and damp grass. Marcus gripped the shell tight, deeming it a gift from the river god, proof he would conquer the priestess. But in Leah's eyes, a flicker of sorrow flashed, as if she knew the thing he held was no gift, but the mark of a curse set in motion. That night, Pomak lay silent. Only two figures by the riverbank, one arrogant man seeking to prove his seductive power, and a priestess cloaked in radiant golden scales, the bridge between humankind and the divine. The waves whispered, the night wind rustled, as if river and forest listened, remembered every breath, every glance. And from the moment Marcus clasped that seashell in his hand, not only Leah's heart, but the fate of Pomak village veered onto a path with no turning back. And before we continue with the main story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video, okay? Oh, and don't forget to comment below letting us know where you're watching us from. We love hearing that. The night slipped away like black silk unfurling, sparse stars dangling above the Pomak River. The water gleamed silver like a colossal mirror, tiny ripples reflecting the moon's shimmer. In that space, Marcus sat by the bank, the golden shell nestled in his hand, its light flickering like a smoldering ember, alluring yet threatening. Not far off, Leah leaned against the current. The golden scales on her form cast a glow that bathed the shore in sparkle. Each small movement, every wet strand of hair trailing down her shoulder, flowed like a cascade of jewels. Elsewhere, Marcus was accustomed to women's adoring gazes, but before Leah, he sensed a different power, as if she embodied beauty itself, yet hid a warning within that very radiance. Marcus raised the shell to eye level. For an instant, its face revealed another faint shadow, another woman, a fragment of memory he'd tried to bury. Her features wavered like a candle in the breeze, eyes half closed, lips trembling. A sob echoed in his mind, silent yet slicing like a knife to the heart. He squeezed his eyes shut, drew a deep breath, then opened them to cold golden light alone. He told himself it was a trick of the moonlight, a meaningless illusion. Leah drew closer, her steps soundless on the water's surface. She gazed at Marcus, her eyes drawing him in like they could pierce skin and strip away the masks he'd worn so long. In that moment, though no words passed, a silent dialogue flowed between them. Marcus sought to prove his charm's might, while Leah observed quietly, as if she'd already foreseen the fate of any who toyed with the river. A chill wind whispered through, bearing the salty tang of water, the musty scent of the shoreward forest. Marcus leaned down, trailing a finger across the surface. Ripples spread, mirroring both the shell in his hand and Leah's face. Her reflection blazed in the water, scales aglow like a torch at the riverbed. Marcus felt his chest tighten, unsure if it was the thrill of conquest or a creeping dread. That night, they met many times. Each full moon's glow, Marcus returned to the bank, bringing his smile and honeyed promises spilling from his lips. His words flowed sweet as syrup, pouring into Leah's ears like a lullaby. And though she knew the lies beneath, a small crack opened in her heart, letting faint light seep through. Each of Marcus's smiles struck like an arrow, sweet yet cruel. Leah, raised in rituals, taught from birth to guard her purity and distance, now felt her heart stir. Her dreams began to shift. No longer visions of goddess Nia, no longer the river's sacred golden light. Now Marcus's face appeared, his lips murmuring eternal vows. In dreams, she imagined a different life, one where she was loved as an ordinary woman, unburdened by sacred duty. But those dreams dissolved like sea foam. By day, as she sat by the bank performing rites, the waves whispered warnings. The murmurs sounded like distant fury. "Beware. Your heart is the key to this village," Leah heard, yet still returned to the bank at nightfall, where Marcus waited. Once, as moonlight poured straight into the river, Marcus drew nearer, his hand brushing hers. Heat from his palms surged against her cool skin. Their eyes met, and in his, Leah saw not just desire, but a fragility, a sliver she'd never glimpsed in any other man. In that instant, she allowed herself to believe, or at least, to dream. But back in the village, in dim huts, mocking laughter still echoed. The men egged Marcus on, counting days, awaiting proof to jeer or cheer. That envious man, the wager's architect, watched from afar with malicious glee. He knew once Marcus claimed Leah's heart, not just he but the whole village would pay. In his eyes, Marcus's ruin was sweet revenge. The river flowed on, but within it, the ripples began to change. The shell in Marcus's hand glowed brighter each night, and each peering revealed another face. Silent faces gazing at him with sorrowful eyes. He shook his head to dispel them, believing he was winning, that no god could subdue his charm. Yet Leah, amid her stirring doubts, began to feel an invisible weight. Each of Marcus's smiles raised the waves higher. Each touch of his hand chilled the river wind further. She realized the water around her was no longer gentle embrace, but rising wrath. And then, one evening, as she waited for Marcus by the bank, the moon high, the waves eerily still, he did not come. She lingered, eyes scanning the distance, minute by hour. A strange sensation flooded her heart, like an unseen hand squeezing tight. In her ear, the wind whispered like a distant voice, "You were just a wager." When Leah looked up, the golden shell suddenly floated on the water before her, blazing bright, and within it, she saw dozens of women's faces staring back, all victims before her. That night, as Leah realized Marcus had vanished, her heart crumbled. Moonlight still scattered silver on Pomac River, but the light that once brought her peace now turned cold, sharp as blades. She gazed at the golden shell bobbing before her. Its glow spread wide, illuminating her face, reflecting in her abyss-deep eyes. And from the shell's heart, dozens of women's faces emerged, one by one, their eyes tear-filled, silently regarding her. Their lips moved, soundless yet echoing from afar. "We were abandoned, our hearts exploited." Leah clutched her chest, her heart pounding as if to burst. The harsh truth crashed through her mind. It was all a game, a cruel bet. Marcus hadn't loved her, never had. He'd come only to prove himself against the taunts. Tears streamed down her face, mingling instantly with the water clinging to her skin, indistinguishable as river or sorrow. Space fell utterly still. Insects ceased chirping, wind halted, even the waves' murmur choked off. Pomac village sank into eerie silence. Then, from the river's profound depths, a vibration rose, building like a colossal heartbeat. The surface boiled, waves surged. The sky flashed, lightning tore across the clouds, and in that thunderous roar, a voice arose. The voice of earth, of water, of ancient fury. "Mortal, you have betrayed me." That voice pierced the air, making trees tremble, Leah's chest constrict. It rang not as mere sound, but as judgment unleashed from the river's soul core. Each word weighed like stone, plummeting, splashing the surface. Marcus, at a distance, heard it. He stood at the village edge, wine still burning his throat, heart suddenly sinking. His body shuddered, not from cold, but from unknown terror. He turned, gazing toward the river, where waves abruptly reared like walls. Leah knelt, trembling hand touching earth. Her eyes widened, fixed on the depths. From below, massive whirlpools rose, trailing white foam, twisting as if to devour all. And in the silver light, a colossal form materialized, eyes blazing like twin stars, black hair cascading as waterfalls, her body ringed in glittering scales, golden light flaring like a sun rising in the dark. It was goddess Nia. Nia's gaze pierced Marcus, shredding every disguise. He was no longer the handsome youth, no longer the unrivaled seducer. Before the divine, he stood as a naked liar. In that instant, every sweet word he'd uttered echoed in his mind, no longer melody but accusing screams. Nia's voice thundered again, like lightning in his chest. For every lie you spoke, a scar shall etch your flesh. For every heart you betrayed, a wound shall carve your soul. Waves exploded, ensnaring Marcus. He thrashed, but the icy currents gripped like divine hands, tightening, dragging him under. His body submerged, flesh tearing as if by 1,000 invisible blades. Wind howled with whirlpool roars, forging a symphony of judgment. Leah watched, heart torn. Part of her yearned to reach out and save him, for the real stirrings she'd felt lingered. But another part knew. This was the price, not just for her, but for all women he'd forsaken. Her eyes brimmed, yet her hand stayed. In the raging vortex, Marcus threw back his head, eyes wide in panic. He tried to scream, but the cry drowned in water. Then, a burst of light. Bolts like lightning flashed, searing into his skin. The first scar emerged, glowing, then etching deep, agony like red-hot iron. Then the second, third, chaining on. Each mark summoned a face in his mind, women who'd wept for him. All screamed, all clutched, all clung, unrelenting. He thought he'd died. But no. As light faded, waves calmed, Marcus was cast back to shore like a drowning man. Gasping, trembling, he lifted his head. His once smooth skin was marred. Faint scars traced chest and arms, a map of his past. He touched them shakily, feeling burning heat radiate from each. Leah stood there, eyes still aglow with gold, but her gaze heavy with pain. She spoke no word, only turned, letting moonlight swallow her form. Then she vanished into the river, leaving Marcus alone on the bank, soaked, gasping like one escaped from hell. That night, Pomac village began to change. The river lost its serenity. Water muddied, waves grew fierce. Fish vanished, shore soil cracked dry swiftly. A curse had been sown, not just on Marcus, but on the community. Dawn the next day draped Pomac not in gentle peace, but in pallid gray gloom like a shroud. No rosy sunrise tint, sky hung ashen, somber. Roosters crowed sparse, feeble, as if fearing something. Air hung heavy, silent, save dry wind whistling through thatch roofs. In his small hut, Marcus awoke. His body weighed like lead, once powerful muscles aching as if scoured by firestones. Breath came short, ragged, throat parched, skin crusted with salt. He staggered up, bare feet chilling on damp floor. On the low wooden table, a small mirror lay, its glass cracked at the edge. He leaned in to look, his heart clenched. The face in the glass was no longer the proud man once praised. Instead, a gaunt visage, eyes sunken, lips cracked. Worse, on his skin, from neck to chest, then spreading arms, scars began to clarify. At first, faint lines, like dried scratches. But as light slanted through the door crack, each blazed red, fresh as if branded with hot iron. Marcus panicked. He touched a scar on his shoulder. Instantly, agony lanced his heart. In a flash, a woman's image surged in his mind, her eyes flooded, hands trembling as he turned away. Her sob rang in his ears. He screamed, releasing the scar, but the vision fled only for another wound. He glanced at his chest. Scars chained long, twisting like roots gripping flesh. Each bore a memory, a smile betrayed, a promise torn, a heart crushed. Images assaulted, unannounced, merciless. Each like a fresh knife, carving deeper into soul. Marcus stumbled outside. Morning light exposed his scarred body fully. Villagers watched from afar, eyes fixed. First shock, then revulsion. Whispers rose. That's the divine's mark. The curse has fallen on him. He made the river angry. Elders shook heads. Youth glared hate. Women drew children away. Marcus stood trembling, like a sinner bared to light. And the curse didn't stop at his body. It spilled out, seeping into soil, water. Pomac River, once clear, turned murky. Waves no longer lapped gentle but twisted, roaring to swallow shores. Fish bellies up, drifting. Stench of rot clung to air. On fields, rice sprouts yellowed, leaves wilted, drained of life. Irrigation channels emptied fast, leaving cracked earth. Drought unknown in village memory spread in days. Villagers panicked. They prayed by banks, burned incense, offered rites, but sky stayed mute. They wailed, accused, blamed. Every eye turned to Marcus. He ran to the river, feet bleeding on hard ground. He hurled the shell into water, but it wouldn't leave his hand. Instead, it clung tighter, fused to palm. He spun, tried again, but the more he fought, the hotter it burned, blazing in his grip. When the shell's light flared, he saw familiar faces within. No longer a few, but a crowd, dozens, hundreds of eyes staring, lips mouthing accusations. Marcus roared, but no sound escaped, only wind howl and water receding from shore. He collapsed to knees. Scar pain gnawed his body. He felt 1,000 claws rake flesh. Each heartbeat ignited a scar, summoning another memory. Truncate, dense. Trees stood skeletal on either side, branches reaching like bony arms. No birds, no insects, only steady wind whistling through hollow rocks. Deeper in, air thickened with moisture, skin chilled, sweat clung sticky, and a musty rot like aged mud assaulted lungs. At the fog-shrouded forest's heart, they reached a strange lake. Not clear, but inky black, like a velvet-draped mirror. Its surface utterly still, no ripples, reflecting nothing but void. Amara halted, eyes fixed on the water, while Marcus felt the shell in his hand scorch hot, as if recognizing what awaited. A figure sat at the lake's edge, tall and gaunt, cloaked in dark robes, face shadowed by hood, revealing only milky eyes glowing faint like embers under ash. It was the water keeper, a being half god, half human, entrusted by goddess Nia to guard the secrets of the flow. Marcus sensed the air shift, not wind, but an oppressive presence crushing his chest. Every scar on his body throbbed in unison, glowing beneath skin. He crumpled to knees, unable to resist, while Amara stood firm, her eyes unafraid, resolute on the figure before her. The water keeper spoke not, but an echo resounded through space. From lake depths, tree roots, stones underfoot. You carry the wounds of dozens of hearts. Do you come to beg forgiveness, or to bury yet another lie? Marcus trembled, throat choked silent. He bowed his head, sweat and tears mingling on cold ground. His hand clenched the shell, and instantly it blazed fierce. From the light, hundreds of women's faces emerged, this time not just gazing, but mouths opening in unison. Cries, screams, whispers of accusation thundered across the lake, echoing into mountains and woods, shaking the air. Amara stepped forward, hand on Marcus's shoulder. She said nothing, only held firm, anchoring him amid the storm. Marcus lifted his head, eyes red-rimmed, staring straight at the water keeper. The black lake stirred, swirls formed, small then vast, then the whole surface roared. From its heart, shadows rose. Not fish, not humans, but somber forms, female spirits imprisoned by deceit. They emerged from water, eyes aflame, hair sodden, arms outstretched. Marcus recognized each, every face, every familiar sob. He longed to flee, but legs weighed like stone. Each advance tore a memory through his heart. The water keeper sat unmoving, like an impartial judge, letting past phantoms close in. Marcus collapsed, hands clutching head. Screams, gazes, pelted him like tempest. He cried out, voice shattering, "Enough!" But sound swallowed instantly. Scars blazed, red hot, spreading like lava. Amid chaos, Amara knelt beside. She gripped his hand tight, forcing his gaze to hers. In her eyes, no judgment, no hate, only quiet truth and faith in escape. Marcus gasped, then for the first time whispered aloud, "I was wrong. I hurt them, and I can't take it back." The water keeper raised its head, milky eyes flashing. Lake waves quieted, phantoms slowed. None vanished, but screams softened to choked sobs, then silence. The water keeper extended a hand toward the shell. Its light erupted, slashing the night sky. In that moment, Marcus saw clearly. The shell held not just vengeful faces, but beautiful fragments, gentle smiles, hopeful instants, initial trusts unbroken. He understood the curse was no mere sentence, but a mirror, forcing him to see all, the ugly and the beauty he'd destroyed. Marcus shuddered, but for the first time, he didn't turn away. He gazed into the shell, letting spirit's eyes pierce him, letting pain rend, yet allowing faint hope to seep in. The water keeper lowered its hand, voice resounding. The path you seek lies not in flight. Carry this burden until you turn it to strength for healing. Then the figure dissolved into mist, leaving the black lake still as before. Marcus slumped, shoulders heaving. Amara remained, her hand on his, reminding him he wasn't wholly alone. When Marcus raised his head, he saw on the lake's surface another form, Leah with blazing golden eyes. But this time, she regarded him not with hate, but an enigmatic look, half warning, half awaiting what came next. Are you still here, my dear audience? Take a moment to relax, maybe sip some water, then tune back in for the captivating continuation. Comment number 1 if you find this story intriguing. Don't forget to hit subscribe to the channel. After the encounter with the water keeper, Marcus and Amara pressed on. The path led through barren hills, over dry stream beds, strewn with glittering pebbles under Sunday air, hung heavy like a thick blanket over earth and sky. Each step, Marcus felt the chest burden grow heavier, as if the shell's faces tracked ever closer, unrelenting. One afternoon, as the sun blazed red towards sunset, they reached a village nestled in the valley, called Oba's Hope, but the name rang ironic, for hope here seemed long withered. From the threshold, Marcus sensed the odd air, a thick stillness, as if the village bound in weary dream. Crooked wooden homes, cracked walls, rotting thatch roofs. No cook-fire smoke rose, only cold ash and dust scents. On narrow dirt paths, only women and children. They moved slow, eyes hollow from exhaustion. Children huddled by fences, arms spindly, eyes wide but vacant. No laughter, no calls, only souls drained silent. Marcus's breath grew labored, each face he saw stabbed like a dagger into memory. He glimpsed women he'd loved, children he'd never claimed, all replayed in the lives before him. His heart twisted, chest scar blazing like live coal, agony unbearable. Amara walked beside, gaze calm yet profound. She knew what this place held, and that Marcus must face it, no evasion. They were led to an elder woman at the village edge. Silver-haired, tiny-framed, but eyes sharp as twin torches in night. She asked not who they were, nor marveled at Marcus's scars. Her glance pierced him through, sending shivers. Fire crackled in the small home, casting her shadow on walls. Her voice low, deliberate, each word dropping heavy as stone. Redemption lies not in words, it can only be found in deeds. As many lives as you've ruined, now rebuild them piece by piece, bit by bit. Marcus fell silent, throat tightened. Those words were no verdict, but a path, painful, yet the only one. Next day he began. With village women he mended crooked roofs, patched rotting thatch, hauled stones to rebuild walls. Each hammer strike, each brick placed, weighed his past on shoulders. Sweat fell to earth, mixing dust and blood from raw hands. Amara stayed near, not taking over, but watching, steadying him from collapse. She offered no comfort, few words. Her silence flowed like underground river, buoying from within. Weeks passed. Gradually homes stood firm again, new tiles laid, doors sealed replaced. Marcus eyed the women, faint lights sparking in weary eyes. Children laughed, hoarse and weak, but a beginning. Yet the shell in Marcus's hand offered no mercy. Each night, exhaustion claiming him in sleep, its light flared. Now not just old faces, but new ones, these village women. They gazed from within, eyes reproachful yet hopeful, reminding his journey never ended. One night, moon at zenith, Marcus woke to scorching in his palm. He opened the shell. In blinding gold, Leah appeared, but not distant, vivid as if before him. She stared straight, golden eyes blazing, neither angry nor pitying. Her voice echoed, deep as wave crash. You've touched the door, but to pass through, pay more than sweat. Remember, a curse binds not just you, but the blood you've touched. Marcus quaked, heart drumming warlike. He grasped the path ahead was no mere labor, no roof mending, but deeper sacrifice, root-level change. Amara, roused by light, sat beside. She asked not what Leah said, only placed hand on his shoulder. Marcus met her eyes, seeing profound understanding. She knew the road ahead harsher still, yet stayed. Night fell on Oba's hope, heavy as morning veil. Wind stilled, earth hardened. Even hearth fires flickered faint, guttering like near extinct. No one slept sound. Children burrowed into mothers' arms. Women sat dazed on porches, eyes fixed on black void. They sensed it clear. Something ancient approached, inescapable. Marcus sat alone at village edge. Before him, black water from Pomac River curved into valley. In hand, golden shell blazed fierce, light casting on ashen face, etching scars like script on flesh. He knew this night unlike others. Tonight, past returned not in illusion but flesh and bone. Amara sat behind, tree shadow silent. She touched not, but her presence gleamed distant lamp in night sea, holding him from fall before storm hit. Ground beneath quaked sudden. Marcus felt deep throbs, like river's giant heart awakening. Black lake surged waves, massive swirls rising, whipping air to howling columns. Village trembled, children wailed, women clutched young fleeing homes, but no home sturdy enough for shelter. Then from water heart forms rose. First faint as smoke, then sharp. Dozens of women, hair drenched, eyes coal-hot. They circled Marcus, steps deliberate, footfalls silent save cold water trails on soil. All those he'd left behind, familiar faces, once smiling lips now sealed in stifled rage. Marcus tried turning, but shell scorched, forcing gaze. One face loomed, Adira, who'd vowed with him by seashore. Her eyes now blades, slicing skin to memory depths. A voice rang in mind, soundless yet clear. You vowed, then left me in tears. How will you pay? Then Miriam, Naya, others, all closed in, voices weaving to collective roar. Marcus clutched head, buckled, body convulsing, scars ignited, red light crawling like magma. He toppled to earth, mouth agape gasping, heart frantic to shatter. In the encirclement, a form appeared, Leah. Golden scales blazed, illuminating night. Neither wrath nor softness, she stood still, eyes delving Marcus. In them, he saw disappointment, pain, and worse, divine silence. Marcus choked, forgive me, but words strangled to wind hiss through teeth. Shell snapped open, light exploding sun small. Within, all women's faces screamed unison, sonic waves tearing sky. Earth shook, river surged, village lifted in living nightmare. Amara advanced, entering spirit circle. She laid hand on Marcus's shoulder, making him open eyes to hers. In them, resolve, unyielding faith. Amara drove no phantoms away, stemmed no water, only whispered brief. Face it. Marcus tensed, lifted head. He stared straight at Leah, at all encircling faces. Fear lingered, but inner ember kindled strength. He opened mouth, voice hoarse but clear. I betrayed you all. I took love and tossed it like trash. I shattered hearts, and I'll never erase it. But I swear, from now, I'll bear this pain until it ceases burning me. Words ended, Shell's light shifted. No longer blinding but softened, warm gold like dawn. Faces dimmed, screams dissolved to wind. Not all gone, but less savage, retreating to watch, not torment. Leah lingered, scales shimmering. She tilted head, lips moving silent. Her gaze challenged, awaited. Then she faded slow into mist, leaving swirling water ring. Marcus slumped, body spent. But this time, in exhaustion, emptiness fled. Part of shadow withdrawn from heart, leaving space for light. Amara knelt beside, hands cradling his head to her lap. Silver moon bathed, light pooling on still red scars. Marcus closed eyes, sighed. First in years, that breath held not utter despair, but fragile spark, like seed in dry sand, awaiting rain. Night after spirit trial, sky over Oba's hope drowned in swirling cloud banks. Thunder boomed, war drums ceaseless, silver flashes slashing valley. No sleep in village. They gathered by river, eyes glued to unnaturally rising, murky water, storm brewing beneath. All knew, judgment hour come. Marcus stood mid-bank, scarred body, hand clutching golden shell. Amara behind, silent yet steadfast. Heart thundered in chest, mingling wind shriek and wave slap. Water split, colossal whirlpool surged, and from it, a form towered. Goddess Nia rose majestic as water pillar to sky. Hair cascaded waterfalls, golden scales sheathed body blazing, eyes golden vortices like ancient suns. Her light felled villagers prostrate, heads bowed. Nia's gaze fixed Marcus. Body quaked, but this time he held head high. He stood straight, letting divine eyes probe flesh, scars. Nia raised hand, voice booming across river mountains. Marcus, you sowed deceit, shattered hearts, betrayed sacred soul. Have you seen the consequences? Earth cracked, river roiled, wind howled. In shell, hundreds of faces re-emerged, silent now, awaiting answer. Marcus dropped to knees, hands clawing soil, then slow raised head. I have seen, voice rasped, words firm. I bear their wounds on my flesh. I can't erase, can't restore lost, but I'll carry it. I won't repeat those mistakes. If price is my life, I accept. Silence enveloped. Nia spoke not, her eyes bored into him, air freezing. Then from whirlpool, women's spirits rose, encircling Marcus. No prior screams, only still, eyes quiet. Some turned away, some dissolved to water, but some stayed Leah among. She stepped from swirl, golden scales radiant, eyes brimmed profound sorrow, no longer blazing rage. Leah bent, hand to Marcus's shoulder, touch iced like river, yet gentle as unfaded memory. Voice carried on wind. You've grasped truth, but grasp insufficient. Only action redeems your soul. Marcus shivered. In instant, shell split, shattering halves. Golden light erupted, enveloping him. Scars blazed brilliant, then settled to golden etchings, like ancient patterns in skin. No more agony, but eternal marks, reminders not tormentors. Villagers murmured, fear mingled awe. They witnessed divine judgment, strange transformation on Marcus's body. Nia gazed longer. Eyes delved soul depths, then lips moved, voice deep echoing distant thunder. You are not forgiven, but granted chance. Chance to turn sin to strength, heal not just self, but those you harmed. Remember, salvation no gift, but endless journey. With that, Nia dissolved to whirlpool, river calming, sky parting clouds to silver moon. Villagers slow raised heads, eyes shifting fear to fragile hope. Marcus collapsed to earth, panting, sweat mingling tears. Amara approached, lifting him up. In her eyes, no pity, but quiet trust. He nodded, first in life not as seducer, but one ready to remake. That night, Oba's hope no longer despaired silent. Children's voices rose, prayer whispers, mixed wave murmurs, hope's seed sown. But as Marcus gazed water, his reflection showed, and behind, river depths, Leah's golden eyes watched. No wrath, no pardon, only waiting. Another trial neared. Fateful night at Oba's hope closed, but Marcus's journey just began. He'd faced goddess, confronted past, granted chance, not forgiveness. That chance gleamed small lamp in night sea, fragile, yet path illuminating for steps ahead. Marcus's tale warns of deceit and lust, yet proves even most wayward find return path, if daring truth-facing and responsibility-bearing. Scars on Marcus no longer curse marks alone, but transformation witnesses. And you, gazing own life, ever feel bearing past's invisible scars? Story's next part unfolds harsher trials. Whither Marcus goes, has he strength turned sin to light? Will Leah and spirits ever grant forgiveness? Answers await ahead. If this story touches you, Comment below letting us know where and what time you're watching. We crave sharing this journey's connection. Don't forget subscribe channel, like video, and especially share this tale with friends, family in U.S. and beyond, for they too may need reminder of forgiveness and change's power. And you, dear audience, do you wish Journey with Marcus into Tale's second part?